Right. Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's doing good. So we waited for 5 minutes. We can start now. So yes, let me introduce myself first. So I'm Thayiba Ifhamdeen, and I'll be doing English literature at Elevate Academy. This is a 4 month course for the ones sitting for their ordinary level examinations in 2026 December. So hope all of you all are doing your O levels this December. And so this 4 months course is basically to make work easier because as English literature is a basket subject, and as although we would have selected this with much interest, but still later on we find it harder than most of the subjects. So this program, the aim of this program is to cover the entire syllabus within the 4 months, giving it an importance as the rest of the 8 subjects that you're doing. And also maybe if I'll try my best to give you a different opinion of this subject at the end of the 4 months, hopefully. And yes, so speaking about the course, we'll just move deeper into what we will be doing in these 4 months. So what we've planned is we have 4 weeks for a month. So 2 weeks of it will be basically revising and practicing. So we have to practice time when it comes to English literature. Writing is something that we have to be very, very ready to do, and also managing the time along with it. So we'll be learning a few things and a few tricks that we can do to manage time. And in case if you all had joined my webinar last year that I had for the 2025 O level students, you all must have had an idea about it. But it's okay, we'll be doing it, and I'll explain how it will work as we move on. I am talking, but am I audible? Sorry, I forgot to check that. Am I audible, everyone? Right. Okay. Thank you so much, Ali, for that response. And yes, so for 2 weeks we'll be doing. I mean, a week after the other, we'll be doing the practice, the time practice, and we'll be doing how to answer questions, how to answer essays, most importantly. And don't have to worry about getting your essays marked. I will mark them individually and give you all your personal reviews that you need in order to improve. And then the rest of the 2 weeks will be working on studying. So that will be based on your preference. So I will be putting up a poll in the group, and you will have to select the chapters or anything that is difficult that you need me to explain, so that I can give you a whole guide on the theory, the questions, past paper practice, everything that will be done in the other 2 weeks. So this is the plan for now. We'll be doing this and following this for every month, and the tutor will also have all of it included as planned. So for today, and very importantly, my class method is a little different. So first, the first 10 minutes of the class will be about revision, a small revision of what we've studied or the previous class or as a whole, because you have only 4 months for your exams. So the same thing that will be done today. So I have that is called the warm-up session. So I have questions for you, warm-up questions today, which we'll be starting with 15 warm-up questions, which means that you have 15 minutes today for it. Each question only 1 minute. So it's not about answering deeply or anything. It's about where you are with the syllabus. It's one-word answers or maybe like a sentence, but it's about the idea you have about your syllabus. That is what these questions are based on, the warm-up questions. So as we do, I'll explain each part, because if I keep talking about what we are going to do, it's going to be boring. So as we do, I will explain each part to you clearly. So your first 15 minutes work will be shared now. I screen share. You have to just take out a book and write down the question number and write down your answers. Exactly only 15 minutes, not a minute more than that. I hope I was clear, everybody. All right. Okay. So your 15 minutes starts now. I have the timer running. So at 15 minutes, I will stop. Sorry about that, Alicia. 6 minutes more. If you have finished, raise your hands. Right, I see 2 hands up. That's all. If 2 more people are done, we can get into marking the answers. Okay, 3 done. 4, right, okay. So 5 people have finished. I think we can move into the marking. So I have the answers down, and you are going to mark your answers, okay? Yes. Let me know if you can see it. Mark your answers, and if there is anything different that you've written, leave it in the chat box. I'll check it. But quickly, only 2 minutes to mark your answers. You can put your hands down. Who is the speaker into the Nile? You can either put say it is a narrator or narrator of the poem, or the poet himself, or the speaker of the poem. Fine. What does the bird eat? An angleworm. So all these questions represent very tiny, very minute details of the poems and the process. So if you had read in deep, you would have been able to answer at least 10 of these. What literary device is used in voice kind? It's irony. You don't have to write verbal irony. Irony is enough. At what time does the bomb explode? That's 1:20 p.m. Who leaves without speaking in breakfast? The speaker's husband. What does the father want to relearn? How to laugh and smile genuinely. What limits the cage bird? So clipped wings, tight feet, and the cage, the bars that's there, the cage. Why is the upside down man funny? Because he does everything the opposite way. Why does the student need the flower? So we know that he needed the red rose for the professor's daughter so that she'll go to the dance with him. What room interests Nicholas? The lumber room. What secret must not be discovered? That Sue uses her own crane feathers to view the cloth. Why does Myrna visit Papua to collect the money owed by her late husband? So, who wrote? I gave all the 3 novels. You have to write based on your novel. Okay. I want you to look into the spellings and the capitals of the name of your novel. So, be very mindful about how you pronounce and spell the name of the novel. I'm sorry. Name of the novel, even the author's name, the capitals, and when you write R.K. Narayan, make sure it's Narayan, not Narayanan. Okay, that's a common mistake that happens. And then, which poem is based on Sri Lankan history? That's Big Match, 1983, by Yasmin Gunaratna. What causes Kagwa's death? His talking is enough as an answer, but if you had written few extra stuff, that's all right. So if you have written all of these as it is, and if you've got 15 out of 15, you can write your score. Anyone who's got 15, raise your hands, please. Sorry, that was your time. Anyone who's got 15? Right, okay. 14, 13. Okay, we have a 14, that is, right? Okay. 13. 12. Okay, we have 12s. Very good. Right. So I'm not going below that. This will basically give you it will evaluate you based on your level. I mean, it's not going to completely evaluate, but how much you know of the syllabus, how much more you have to read about your syllabus. This warm up will be it's like an everyday thing, so you will be more and more clear with this syllabus. You don't have to worry about that. So then moving into the actual tute that was shared yesterday, I hope you have your tutes opened. So if you can see in your tute, you have section 1, you have it has 5-minute context. So we know that in our literature paper, context questions are the crucial ones before essays. So if you can score your full marks for your context, only then you can have, you can do the rest in your essays to get a good score. So your context is very tricky because it's limited amount of marks, but a lot to write. So these 2 points only scare us when we have to answer context questions. And also time. So if you manage your time in context questions, there only you can, have more time for your essays, and you can have extra time remaining to check your essays for your spellings, your proving and everything, to finally submit your paper. So this 5-minute context is somewhere that you will be given 5 minutes, something where you'll be given 5 minutes to do the question, and only 5 minutes, not more than that. So you can see that we are working on a time this thing. So just because it's the first day, there is no excuse that I'm going to give you a minute more, because we have only 4 months. We have to do as much as we can in those 4 months. So out of these 2 hours, every minute is important. So this 5-minute questions, meaning only 5 minutes. I'll give you 5 minutes. You have to answer all the questions that's given under that context, and then we discuss it. So it can be either I give you first 1 question and I give you 5 minutes, or maybe like 3 questions, 15 minutes, and you have to answer and discuss likewise. And if you can finish it early, very good, because if you can finish before the 5 minutes, you can raise your hands and we can discuss. So as today's the first day, the questions are a bit simpler. That's what I was a little I made the questions easier. But from next week onwards, questions also will be a little more advanced, so that you will be prepared to answer any type of question that comes to your paper. And very interestingly, today I chose a few. It's not based on the entire syllabus. That is a main point that I failed to mention at the beginning. This is not based on the entire syllabus, this tute that you have today in your hand. So usually when we study, we always go from the beginning, right? So always, I think your first few themes of the poems, like the nature, the war, war part, all of them, they are very clear to you. Till date, you're very clear with whatever is happening in those poems. Where we fail to reach the end, the last few themes. So I chose humor today, to do humor and complete it, and make sure you're clear with all the 4 poems under the theme humor. And I've chosen the last prose, wave. So we are going from the back. In our 4 months course, we'll be going from the back, because by now you always, when you open the book, you go to the first poem you have in your book to the knife. Then you studied those poems, and when it comes to the end of the 20, almost when it comes to maybe like the 12th poem, you're like, your interest decreases. Your level of interest and dedication to those poems decreases. Same with the prose. Nightingale and the Rose is very much clear, but not Wave or the Lumber Room. Okay, so we are focusing everything backwards in our 4 months course. So then by the time we do the beginning parts, you're clear with both sides, the beginning and the end. So this is something that I wanted to tell. So today's poem. So can somebody, can you all tell me the 4 poems that come under the theme humor? Quickly, can you leave it in the chat box, please? Right, Camel's Hump. Upside Down. Very good, Nada. Anyone else? Right. What are the other 2 poems? Okay, I got The Huntsman and Whose Company. Yes. Very good. So first, when we learn the 4 poems, the names, again, stressing on how you should spell the names of the poems and the names of the poets. Very important. That's the first question of all the context listing. It's a 1 mark question. So even if you get either the poem or the poet's name wrong, you don't get that 1 mark. Plus, in context, every mark is important because we are making sure that like all the marks we're going to lose, it's going to be in the essays. And we have to make sure that the context, our score should be 4, 3, and 5. Sorry, 3, 4, 5. This should be this thing, and mostly I would say 4 and 5, but 3 is also fine. And your novel context, you can go for a 7, 8, 9, and 10. So these should be our goals for the context. So when you see this has to be 3 to 5, and for your novel one, 7 to 10. So the marks that we are to lose is for our essays because we don't know how the marking scheme will be. It differs every year, every type of question it differs. So for that we don't know, but our context we know the definite answers for each question. So we must be clear with it. So yes, we'll start off maybe with the first question only now. So I'll give you 5 minutes to do the first question only. Your time starts now. Last 1 minute. No one's done yet. Okay, we have 2 people done. Last 3 seconds. Right, that's done. Time up, everyone. Stop writing. 5 minutes is 5 minutes. Right. So before I can start discussing, can you all let me know if you all had done these poems already? If you have an idea of all of these poems, I hope you do. So we can talk about this. Yes, everyone? Yes, right. Okay, so then we can move into a discussion. So the first one, the cure for this ill is not to sit still. So from where are these lines extracted and who wrote them? As usual, we have these lines are extracted from The Camel's Hump by Rudyard Kipling. So when you are writing this, always make sure you write a complete answer. That's a complete sentence. Extract a few words from your question and write a complete answer to get that 1 mark. Okay, I know literature, when it comes to literature, it's like very short questions or sometimes questions need short answers, but you get marks for very detailed long answers. That's how literature works. So from where are these lines extracted and who wrote them? These lines are extracted from the poem The Camel's Hump, T capital, C capital, and then H capital. The Camel's Hump by Rudyard Kipling. Right. And then who is the speaker of the above lines? You can write it's the narrator or the speaker of the poem. Speaker of the poem. What is this ill? This ill refers to the hump, which symbolizes laziness, boredom, or unwillingness to work. I have the answers all documented already. I will share it with you after the session. But now I will dictate it. You can write it because if I write it on the screen and if I type it out, it's too much time. So this ill refers to the hump, which symbolizes, maybe for the first question I'll write. So the hump, which symbolizes laziness, boredom, and unwillingness to work. I hope my spellings are right there. Okay. And the last question, according to the poet, what is the best cure? Keeping oneself busy and working instead of sitting idle. So keeping oneself busy and working instead of sitting idle. Right. The entire poem, The Camel's Hump, talks about. The next question is also based on Camel's Hump. We'll be doing one question each first, and then we'll be coming next to the next. Again to the question from the next poem. But as a summary, Camel's Hump talks about how how laziness is spoken in a very funny way. How the hump stays on the camel without doing any work, and how we also without doing any work, how we'll also end up like that. So as an overall, these questions marks Yeah, I forgot about the marks. For this question with all the spellings and everything, 1 mark. Speaker of the poem, 1 mark. Ill refers to the hump which symbolizes laziness, boredom, and unwillingness. If you had either given two things that the laziness symbolizes, then you can give 1 mark. And over here, the best cure is keeping oneself busy, working instead of sitting idle, 2 marks. These are very short question, I mean, short answer type questions. So 2 marks is okay. This is how your uh, context will be structured for your paper as well, the marks. Was that clear, everybody? Do you all have any doubts before we anything to ask before we go to the next question? Because from next question onwards, we're just going to keep doing and discussing. Right. Essay questions today. No, not essay questions today. We'll be starting essay questions from next week. Anything else to ask before we move to the next question? Right. I take it as a no. So here's your next question. And your time starts now. Vishal, which question are you talking about? First question is Roman number. Is it the C1 or the D1? Not the Roman number, sorry. C, right. C question. It's better for my marking scheme. If you write at least two things that what it symbolizes, you get the 1 mark. If not, no marks. Right, time up. I hope you're all done. Yes, are we done? Can we have some hands raised, please? Right, very good. So next, so I am sure now would have known the poem, right? So we're going in an order anyways. Can I have the answer for the first question, please, with the poet's name?
Upside Down by Alexander Kushner.
Yes, very good. Yes, you can talk, no problem. Thank you so much, Lakshana. Right. Next question. What does he read backwards? Anyone else who can answer the question? Not type, but maybe unmute and talk. Then I don't have to check the chat box. Is it okay if I name somebody? Yeah, letters right, but which letter? Because according to the given context, I've asked you which word did he read backwards? Ton, very good, yes. So for the first question, if you're writing your answer, it has to be upside down, U capital, D capital, and then Alexander Kushner, you have to write A capital and K capital. And second question, he reads the word ton as not. Ton, ton as not. You have to mention that. Why is the speaker calling him a dunderhead? Why is that? Do I have a detailed answer for this question? Can someone read out the answer?
It reveals the opinion of the society towards the man. They consider him to be silly and foolish.
Yes, right. That's one answer. And also you can say about how he reads and does everything the other way around. And yeah, his ridiculous behaviors, because everyone expects a way of how a person should behave, and he does everything opposite to that. So that is why they call him the dunderhead. So yeah, opposite of what he says and does. Correct. Right answers Krishel and Umar. Right. So the first question, you'll have 1 mark again. And what does he read backwards? You have 1 mark. And for the dunderhead question, you have 3 marks. So if you mention about how the society has a view on him, 1 mark. His behaviors are ridiculous and it's the opposite, of what is supposed to be actually done, 1 mark. And you can also mention about how, he talks or he reads stuff the opposite way. He's maybe like very much different behavior, 1 mark. If anything you explain about his behavior or his way of life and how the society has a view on him, if you've mentioned 3 points, then 3 marks. Are we good? Right. I hope that's okay. Then I will need you to do question number 5 and question number 7. Those are 2 different poems. So you have 10 minutes to do that. I'll reduce the time because now we are okay with 5 minutes now. So I'll reduce the time and see. So maybe I'll reduce 1 minute for each question. So you have a total of 8 minutes to do both the questions. Questions 5 and 7. Okay, your time starts now. Please do it, and you'll have to send me images of what you did, because I will personally go through your answers and let you know if something is missing in case we couldn't do it here. So please go do everything and be consistent with what you're doing. This will actually help a lot. So you can trust me with this method, and yes, you can do your questions. Okay, Umar, is this the question you wanted? Right, everyone, time up. I hope you've answered both the questions. Right. So we'll be starting with question 5. Talking brought me here. What was the name of the poem and who was the poet?
The Huntsman by Edward Lowbury.
Yes, very good. The Huntsman, so that's T capital and H capital. Then Edward Lowbury, E capital and L capital. And please check the spellings are right. Type it out. The Huntsman by Edward Lowbury. Okay, I think yes. Right. Who says these words first? They're asking who said this first. According to the poem, who uttered these words first?
The skull spoke these words at first.
Yes, very good. That's the answer. That's the only one answer you have for that question. If you write the dead huntsman or anything, that's wrong. Okay. Right. Last question under that context. What do they mean? So this you can give a huge explanation, like something that you can deep dive into the poem's theory. So can someone tell me a few points, please? I hope you are typing out your answers.
The particular man would have faced his death due to unnecessary and useless talks.
Okay. So also something that you can learn through this, you can write. So obviously the state, worthless talking can lead to destruction. Yes, right. You can talk about how excessive talking and unnecessary talking can lead to their own harm. And as personal, before we talk, we have to make sure that the fact or whatever we're talking is something that people would believe in, and then we have to make the move to talk about it. If not, it will lead to destruction. So you have to mention 3 points about how unnecessary talking, then you have to talk about how we have to have do some thinking before we do this, make the statement, and how what it can lead to the result. So if you have these 3 points in your answer, you can give 3 marks. So this is 1 mark again, this is 1 mark again, and this is 3 marks. Teach us how we should be thoughtful and intelligent. Yes, by talking. Yes. All okay? Can I have a thumbs up? Has everyone marked the answers? Okay. Question number 7. I am a ghost. Pray, who are you? What's the poem? Can someone answer?
Two's Company by Raymond Wilson.
Yes, right answer. Two's Company, T capital, apostrophe S, C capital, then Raymond Wilson, R capital, and W capital. These are the poems that most of us won't, focus much on. So even they are poets, their spelling, the name, spellings, all of this, we don't like give much concentration on while learning. But this session has to make this very clear in your head. So this has to be very clear about who the poet is, how the spellings work, and what the poem overall is about. All of this has to be clear by the end of this session. Two's company is the term. That's why I asked you if you have done this at school before I started giving the questions. So you all have not done two's company yet? Anyone who hasn't done yet? Okay, Umar has not done. What about Lakshana?
Done, teacher.
Krishna? Right, Umar, you can skip the question, no problem, but you can still like listen to what we'll be discussing. It will help. Krishna also has done, right? So, Two's Company is a poem that talks about how two people who are known to be brave, they take themselves up on a task or maybe like a challenge that they can live in this house, kind of a place which is haunted. So they challenge people, saying that there's nothing as such. It's just that people are, making up, and they act fearless. But at the end, the existence of a ghost will show how much of a coward they are. And this poem comes under humor because how they get scared is portrayed in a very funny way. How they go hide, and it's very ironic to what they say. They behave opposite to what they pretend they are to be. So this is what Two's Company is about. Short, long story short. So title of the poem and the name of the poet is done. Who says this? Who says this above words? Ghost. Right answer. The ghost says this. Okay, and then next question. Why is the ending humorous? Why is it humorous? Man who laughs at the ghost ends up, yes. So the man who spends the whole night denying the existence of ghosts only to meet a real ghost at the end. So, okay, this is talking about one man. No, sorry, I think I mentioned. Okay, yeah. So a man who keeps laughing at about this idea of the ghost, who keeps thinking that ghosts don't exist, at the end, how he is terrorized. I mean, how he is scared and how he runs away because of the ghost is what makes this poem humorous. Because this is basically talking about ghosts, so it can come under any other theme. But if they put it under humor, it's because of how his reaction to the concept was. Okay, so we've written about how he laughs at the end of this. You can't exactly give 3 points to get 3 marks, but if you have written about how he was denying the existence of the ghost, that is 1 mark. Yeah, 1 mark. And then if you have written about how he was, you know, acting all brave about, the whole time he was acting brave about the existence of ghost, that he can manage if there was a ghost, all those big, stuff that he was making about himself. And at the end, how he kind of, I think, completely broke down with this, how the ghost was coming in and making him scared. All of those will give this thing made it humorous. So if you have added all those three or any 2 points at least, if you've added, you can get the 3 marks. Was that clear? Was that clear, Michelle,
Yes,
Lakshana, and
teacher.
Umar? Right. You guys can talk because it's only the 4 of us in here, so no one's going to. Yes, okay. Umar also, yes, right. So then we have one more context, 5-minute context to do. So we will be moving on to that context. I want you to do question number 10, not 9, but 10. So for this, you have again 5 minutes, and your time starts now. Right, time up. I hope you have finished. Appreciate Lakshan and Umar. Right. Um, if you finish, raise your hands. Okay. So tell me, from which prose takes are these lines taken from?
Wave.
Babe. Yes, sir. Thank you, Umar. And who wrote this?
Sonali Dharaniyagala.
Right. So Babe, W is capital, and Sonali Dharaniyagala, S capital, D capital. You want me to type out the name? So Babe by Sonali Dharaniyagala. Right. So what natural disaster is being described here?
Sudan.
Yes, Umar, you are not loud enough. Tsunami, was it? Did you tell tsunami? Yeah, tsunami. Correct. Right. How does the writer create a sense of fear in this text? How was it created?
Sense of fear is created through the describing of the waves that are coming towards them closer and closer. She described the waves as charging and churning. Further, the waves are said to be rushing towards their room.
Right. Very good. Nice answer. You can also add a small part about how imagery is included here. Um, that was Lakshana, right? Can you type your answer and leave it in the chat box so the others can copy it down, please?
Okay, teacher.
Yes. What emotions does the narrator experience during this incident? So when you're mentioning the emotions here, you have to explain how that was experienced as well, because it's a 2-mark question there. So you have to write emotions plus the experience. All right. Now these last questions, that's how they usually give. They either ask you detailed in the questions itself. If not, you should understand that the question has 2 marks, so you have to write the 2-mark answer. So if you have mentioned the emotions such as fear, panic, confusion, and helplessness, you explain about fear, about what is going to happen next, because anything, like she's already lost the contact with her husband and her children. So what will happen next? She doesn't know. And also she's already lost her parents in the hotel room. Then panic at the situation when waves are coming, she doesn't know which way to go, or she doesn't know what to do at that point, like how to secure themselves from that disaster. So that is panic. Confusion also you can link with panic and write about how like the escape way of the from this disaster. Helplessness is that at this point no one can help anyone, because all of them are being victimized here, and there's no one to come and help out until the situation kind of neutralizes. So that is also a reason as for the emotion helplessness. So you can anything, if you've explained one emotion detailed, you have to mention the emotion, and if you've explained that emotion in a detailed manner, then you can get your 2 marks. So that's going to be 1 1 1 and 2. That's how the mark is. 1 1 1 and 2. Okay, I hope you've copied down the answer and we can move on to our next part. Can we? The answer that Lakshana sent in the chat box and all the marking, hope it's done. So now you will have an idea how this 5 minute context works. So I don't know how it's on your side, but when I was studying, when I was doing O levels, and when we had these 5 minute questions, it was very much pressurizing for us that we have to like answer. And as a person who writes very much detailed answer for each question, that 5 minutes was not enough for me when my sir says stop writing. So I don't know how it's for you. You can share your thoughts about this to me privately when the class is over. But this is how you should work now. Literature paper, every minute, as I said, is important, and you are under pressure because you don't know what the type of essays you'll be getting, but they still give you the idea of how the context questions can come and how your prose questions come, and they give it to you under each topic. They're not making it hard for you to identify whether it's a prose or a poem. So based on that, now we have to work on identification, and we have to work on how to answer our questions. So are we clear how the 5 minute context will work? This is what we're going to do most like today. We have this many questions. From next week, it will be limited because we have to do the summarizing part and all of it. So how do you find these context questions? Like, is it doable? Is it okay? Is it fun to do? Because it should be fun for the time, and it's like a more like a game. So just let me know, is it all okay on your side?
Okay, teacher.
Right. Right. Then we will move on to section 3. Section 2 will come before, if we have time, we'll be coming back because this is going to be about, you are going to investigate about this poem. This will be about that. But before that, we'll try to do maybe 5 questions from section 3 before we come to section 2. So section 3, I have given about how they expect you to answer short questions but detailed answers. You can practice through this, but that doesn't mean you have to 100% follow this while writing for your exam. But you're practicing this to understand what is important to write for your exam. That's the difference, because you can write anything but still not get any marks because you'll be beating around the bush without writing the on point answer they're asking from you. So you have to know to first identify the main root answer, and everything else it should be about explaining that root answer. That's how your answers for the context question, like your last sub question should be. I don't know if they'll give it in Roman numbers or alphabet. So last question, that's how it goes, the marks. So we'll answer 5 questions. I'll just select 5 random questions and give you. You can answer. One, two, three, 4, 5 years. So questions 1, 5, 6, 8, and 10. Fancy, like this. Questions 1, 5, 6, 8, 10. You can start doing. There's no time for this. There's only 3 of you all here, no? So if 3 of you finish, we can discuss it. Make sure you give a detailed answer. Raise your hands once you've completed. Okay, Lakshana, you finished. Very good. You can put your hand down. Umar and Krishal, let me know when you're done. Okay, Trishul, sure. Thank you so much. Bye. Good.
Teacher, on Wednesday classes you do only paper.
Weren't you there at the beginning of the session when I told you how the session will be going?
No, teacher.
Okay, I'll explain it again at the end of the session. Okay. Umar is also done. So we have only Lakshana and Umar in the meeting today. Okay. I will explain. Sorry. Discuss the first question. What is the main message of the camel's hump? So I will be reading out my answer. If you have written that much of a detail, you can mark in your answers. This section does not have any marks, but make sure you get the idea and the answer from me. Okay. The main message of the camel's hump is that idleness and laziness only make life more difficult, while hard work and keeping oneself busy lead to happiness and success. So the poet compares laziness to a hump that everyone experiences from time to time. However, instead of giving into it, people should overcome it through useful work and positive thinking. This poem teaches readers that staying active is the best way to overcome boredom and discouragement. So I asked you the main message, which means this is how you should answer. Because a poem, overall, they're asking you the message it gave. As a reader, when you finished reading the poem, when you finished understanding the poem, what message did you receive? This is what I got. How the poet compares the hump to boredom, laziness, staying still, giving reasons without working. Like that's how the hump is, right, on the camel. Like it, camel as a whole has a different use for the hump. Okay, we'll keep it like that. But when we are seeing, how we metaphorically say how the hump is on a camel, just doing nothing, just on it, without a single use on when we see it. So the boredom and laziness, these kind of things, qualities are compared to the hump on a camel, and it is given it in a way that people understand in a funny way without being directed very harshly or very much, maybe without making it a hard thing to understand. Kipling has given it like this so that people will enjoy it while learn from the poem. So that is the main message from the camel's hump. I will be providing the cute answers. Do you need me to read the answer out now? Is it better? I think better, no?
Yes, teacher.
Yes. So wait, let me, in that case, I think you can see here. While I explain the next question, you can copy down. So I think next question I asked you to do was 156. Okay, fifth question. Why, you can take a screenshot also if you want. Why do gods accompany Kagwa? So we know how the entire poem revolves around a talking skull, and gods accompanied Kagwa under the order of the king. That is the first one. Why were they ordered? Because Kagwa had apparently said about a talk. I mean, he spoke about a talking skull, and was trying to convince that what he said was true in order to receive kind of a privileged thing from the king. But apparently the king, the king is not a very what do you say, naive person who you know believe it as soon as Kagwa told something about that. So he ordered the guards to go with Kagwa to see if there was a talking skull, as how he mentioned, and if there was, then okay, he's safe. He gets the reward from the king. Okay, but if there is no such thing like that, he was supposed to be executed on that spot. So this is why the guards accompanied Kagwa. This entire thing should be there as your answer. Here, are we clear?
Yes, teacher.
Right. Umar authored here. Right. Question number 6. State the moral of the huntsman. So moral is why I wanted you to write the moral is you can it's kind of close. The fifth and the sixth questions are very much close ideas. So based on that, if you have written your moral, you can copy down this answer. It's the same thing that I'll be repeating. So how talking unnecessarily and talking without thinking if it's right or wrong, how it can lead you to serious consequences, and which also can cost your life. So you have to be very careful and very mindful of the actions and words that you present into a crowd. If it's within yourself, there's no problem. It's you doing whatever with yourself. But when you're doing it with a crowd, you have to be precautious. So that's what the moral is. Okay, have you all written this? Let me know if you finished. Okay, I'm waiting if you finished writing. You go to the next question. Umar, Lakshana, have you all finished?
Yes, teacher.
Umar? Yeah, okay. Right. Next question, eighth one. Which poem do you find most entertaining? Give one reason. So basically, I didn't write an answer for this because it's based on preferences. If you ask me, my favorite out of the four will always be Upside Down, because I think the theme humor, or the concept of humor was it was brought out mostly by that poem than the other three poems. So I like Upside Down very much. And if you ask me the reason, that's a reason, because the theme humor reflected a lot in that poem than the other three, because other three kind of have a, like, a serious touch to it. But Upside Down does not have that. So I like that poem. What were your answers? I am excited to listen to them. I believe it's interesting. Lakshana?
My favorite one is The Huntsman Pitch.
Okay. Why is it your favorite one?
Because initially, when he questioned the skull, it said, "Talking brought me here." And finally, the skull questions the dead Kagwa, and he gives the same reason. Therefore, it's really humorous that talking led to face the death of both of them.
Right. That's nice. Very nice. That's a nice view of how you've seen the poem in a humorous way. Right. And the last question, yes, last question we have is, what is the main theme of the memo? So over here I meant about the wave. What is the main this thing is the loss and survival in the face of a devastating natural disaster. The memoir explains the overwhelming grief experienced by the narrator after losing her entire family in the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. It also highlights the immense power of nature, the trauma caused by sudden tragedy, and the emotional struggle of coping with unimaginable loss. So, obviously, when reading Wave, even we have that sense of, you know, how do we say that? We have that sense of, like, almost we tear up when we read Wave, because it takes us time to understand what's happening in that prose as a whole. And when we understand what is happening, it is very heavy, because you are on a vacation with your entire family, expecting it to be a very happy one, to spend the end of a year happily, and suddenly you don't even know what this thing is, and it strikes. It's just one whole water wave. So basically, we think water is something that is powerless, but we know when it comes to waves, and when it comes to tsunami, when it comes to floods, how powerful water is. So until then, back then, water was something that they didn't expect it to be this powerful. So being struck by a water, and you don't even accept the fact that you lost your life. I mean, the person who you love lost their life because of water. So it's all of a tragedy. Sonali Tiraniagala's personal experiences, yes, but we don't mention it while we are writing answers. But it's a personal experience about losing her entire family, her parents, her husband, her children, due to this disaster, natural disaster, and how much of a mental trauma or a depression she had to go through without, you have them for one day and the next day they're not there. That's a different, a whole different thing. And going through that tragedy is also another thing, because you don't know what is falling on you and what is happening in between those water waves, but you're still, struggling to come up stride. So all of this, bring up the main theme of the memo, that is the loss and the survivor. It was between both of these only. They lost a few people. While the loss was happening, they were running for the survivor. So based on this theme, if you've explained and been a given clear answer, it's right. So yes, have you written?
Yes, teacher.
Right. We have discussed section 3 a few questions, and section 1 I think you have how many questions? Five questions to do on your own, and section 3 questions also you can do on your own. So here I've given the upside down poem for this thing. This I'll discuss it next class when we have time. Today I I took a bit of extra time to explain the parts and stuff, but now I will be also explaining about the program because I think you missed in the beginning, so I explain it to you, Lakshana. So it's on Wednesdays from 7:30 to 9:30, and this is just today's tute only, exclusively only today's tute. And from next week we'll be having the August tute released. We'll be doing 5-minute context questions like this at the beginning of. I mean, first we'll be having 50 warm-up questions. That is how we will start based on the revision of the previous week and what we will be based on the revision and whatever you've done in school. You'll have like 5 to 10 warm-up questions which are very short answers that like needed ones. So we'll do that first, and then after that we'll quickly discuss it. I'll display the answers, and then we'll be going on to 5-minute context questions first. So when doing 5-minute context questions, the content or the amount of questions will be lesser than what we are doing today. It's about timing. You have only 5 minutes for each of these questions, and within that 5 minutes, you have to respond. I mean, so you have to write answers, and we will be discussing it after each question. So likewise, we'll be doing a few questions here and there. And I have started with from the back. So from poem, I have done the last theme today, humor. And from prose, I have done the last prose today, wave. I didn't include anything of the drama because we didn't have enough time. But from next week, we'll be including drama as well. So we'll be going from the back. Reason, you must have already studied everything multiple times. The beginning parts, nature, nature, all of those. These you must have already studied. I'm sorry, it's just that I can't remember the theme names right now. It's not coming. Can you tell me the theme names, please?
Nature, conflict, society, life, and humor.
Yes, I'm sorry, it just didn't come. I don't know, maybe a small gap in my thing. All right. Nature, conflict.
Life, society,
Yeah, 1 minute.
humor.
Yeah. I got it. 1 minute. I had a small problem here. Nature, conflict, society, life, and humor. These are the 5 themes that you have. And from what I know, nature and conflict should be like the most clearing ones. Very, thorough ones for everybody because they start with this and they learn it. So maybe it's voice kind or the bird that comes down. Wait, what am I wrong? A bird came down the walk, evening star, eagle, farewell to the barn secondary. All of these poems will be very clear. But when you consider the latter part, whether it's life, when it comes to life, most people get earthen goblet heart. Then I think father and son, understanding the difference between father and son and the poem Father and Son and Once Upon a Time, that gets harder. And Big Match 1983. And now I've done humor. Most of the people, they just leave towards the end of the period because it's the last theme. So we'll just learn a few 2-3 poems and we'll leave it here. They just leave it. So we will not do that. We'll be going from the back, and the Bear, and we'll be doing Twilight of a Crane. Those 2 dramas anyways will cover it because that's less of content from that side. And prose, people take Wave and Lumber Room to be harder, whereas they can sometimes Lahore Attack also becomes harder, but Nightingale and the Rose is always very much clear for everybody. So we will be focusing everything from backwards. I hope that is okay with you.
Yes, teacher.
Yes. So and every part I will explain the entire concept, and I will add past paper questions for that part so that we finish the complete revision for that. So humor today I didn't add the past paper questions, but next class or the next few tunes will have the entire thing completed. Now when we do conflict, all 4 poems you will be having the entire thing summarized. The definition, I mean the poem summaries, the literary devices, themes, and past paper questions of that, essay questions, context questions, everything will be covered so that you have a full pack in one place where you can just revise that for the exam and be ready. Okay, this is the plan for this 4 months course. If you're interested, you can enroll yourself for this. I hope to, and also I will be marking your essays, everything personally, and I'll give you reviews personally. You can contact me anytime regarding. It doesn't have to be my work only to get it marked. If you have anything that you want to ask questions, doubts, or if you have anything to mark from me, that is your school work or your exam work or something. I mean, when you've been preparing for exams, you'll write essays. So those kind of things also you can send. I'll mark and get back to you. I will also explain about writing essays. That will be a different thing. So 2 weeks we'll be doing this. What we did today, this work will be done for 2 weeks, and 2 other weeks we'll be doing complete theory base. For that, I will be putting up a poll, and I will be asking what poem you need me to explain. So based on that, your tute will reach to you. Is that all clear? I think I spoke a lot.
Yes, teacher.
Right. Thank you so much, Lakshana, for staying till the end. I hope you understood. Was it all good? Did you like the session?
Yes, teacher. So if
Right.
I'm willing to continue, how can I drop you a text, teacher?
You can contact the admin in the group Elevate Academy. They will get yourself enrolled.
Okay, teacher.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'll see you next week. Bye. Have a good night.